Well, it's Youth Month here in South Africa, and in that spirit today we speak to 31-year-old Billy Guy Bhembe, who hails from Ekurhuleni. At 19, he started his own company, which offers a variety of business solutions. He is a businessman, an inspirational speaker, a philanthropist and an author, encouraging the youth to impact their own communities with the change they want to see. Now, he's currently involved in the project of building a library next to his old primary school. Billy Guy Bhembe is in studio with us this morning. Good to have you. Welcome
Thank you
to the
so much,
program.
Leah, and it's really a pleasure to be here.
It's so nice to hear that you're doing so much. Growing up in the location which inspired you to start your own business at 19. Talk to me about your background.
You know, coming from a community that it's mostly negative, when you dream big, you sort of shunned upon. When you say, I'd love to live in a house this big or drive a car that's in such a way, you're almost shunned upon. To a point, I was actually called a liar when I was growing up, you know, because I was the guy who spoke about the big things that one cannot necessarily reach up to. But as I grew up, I realized that being unique was actually a strength. Being different and not necessarily following in everyone else's trail was a strength. I became a leader at a very young age. I was head boy twice at both primary and high school.
Well done.
Once I came out of there, I started, as you say, my first company at 19, employing my classmates as my first employees. And this has basically led to me saying, with everything that I have done, how is it that I can start imparting to young people how I've lived my life to get to this point of being stable, having a business that is running, being able to give back, mentor other young people.
Yeah. It's so inspiring, and anybody listening to this can only but be inspired by that. So you developed a company called Black Child, It's Possible. That's
correct.
Obviously, this is, I mean, from what you've explained, this is speaking to yourself.
We actually say we inspire through speaking and teaching. And Black Child, It's Possible began on one morning where I woke up and the 4 words came out my mouth. I still believe that was God whispering those words for me to tell young people that it is possible. And it's not about marginalizing, but it's saying the majority of young people who are living in squatter camps, young people who do not have self-belief, young people who do not think that they'll one day get to university, those are the people that I'm speaking to. Yeah. And we realize that motivation is just like church. You know, Sunday, you're all fired up. Come Tuesday, we've forgotten what the priest was talking about. So we had to have mechanisms to make sure that somebody follows through to their destiny. That's when we came up with our training department. And there we've partnered with a number of corporates. We knock at their doors. I always encourage young people to say, do not be afraid to approach a CEO of a company. Do not be afraid to go and say, can I speak to the MD of this company? And it is young people who have ideas that will turn around this country. Yeah. And it is only when you start taking yourself seriously, knocking at the right places and making an impact that we'll be taking seriously as young people.
But how do you get that message across? Because, I mean, if you are, you know, talking to a young man who is in the same situation as you were, living in a shack in some out of town rural area that's thinking, I've got all these dreams and yet how am I ever going to fulfill them? How do you get that inside of them to realize that they too can be you?
You know, I often say best thing is to connect with somebody, and the way to connect is telling your personal story. My personal story has a number of facets to it. You know, coming from a family, you know, that, taking for example, my father had, his dad, my grandfather, had 4 wives. Had 10 children each. Wow. We come from a very poverty-stricken family.
10 children each from 4 wives?
So it's 40 in total in terms of siblings. And, you know, someone could not imagine that. And when you reach standard 8, which is now grade 10, you're considered educated in my family. You've now done it because you need to make way for someone else to get in. Yeah. So when I speak to a young person, I say, it's ultimately all up to you. You may look at the situation and say, I can be comfortable, and this may be my everyday, and I may end here. Or you can simply say, why don't I put up my hand and be the first to university in my family, the first to finish matric. And I often say, let's not cloud and make matric such a big deal. As Oprah has said, matric is just a point where we need to pass, but the bigger picture is, what do I become? What skill do I learn after matric? How do I, you know, play my part in making this country really great?
You're an amazing young man. Billy Guy Bhembe. Now, go to his website, blackchilditspossible.co.za.
That's correct.
Correct. Get on there. And also you can read about this library that you're going to be doing at your old
school. Yes,
that
is actually in partnership with Purement Children's Trust, and I've brought them on board because they come from my neighborhood. 18th July, Nelson Mandela Day, we handed over, together with a number of books that we donated, over 5,000 books that have been donated to Mapanzela Primary School.
absolutely amazing. You're going to do a poem for us as well.
That's correct.
So after the ad break, Billy Guy Bhembe, author, inspirational speaker, you name it, and now a poet as well, is going to leave us and talk us out of the program. Stay tuned.